Okay, continuing from before, if you notice here, because I was rushing, I didn't go down to -2. I noticed I did that with a few of my graphs. That's quite okay. Um, like I said, I'm just putting this together super fast. And then number 10, what was it asking? Find the value when it's pi over 6. Now, I personally would probably just plug in the pi over 6. Now, if you want to convert to degrees, it will be 2 cosine 30. And then you know from the chart what cosine 30 is, and it's radical 3 over 2, and then you times it by 2. So I'm getting radical 3 is the answer. And then, but if you flip it, it's going to be negative radical 3. And if you flip this graph, it's the same thing, but -2 cosine x. And yeah, from the equation in part C. So in this case, the answer should be negative. I'm moving on. I have to get these done quickly. All right, here. The amplitude is 2 and there's no midline. Cosine starts at the amplitude. And then if I want to get the period, it's 2 pi divided by the number in front of x, and I write it horizontally and do keep, change, flip. So 4 pi is where you have one full cycle. So I'm going to start at 2, go to 0, go to -2, go back to 0, and then go to 4 pi. And there it is. Now, if you want to find out what the other intervals are, you do the period divided by 4. So if I took 4 pi divided by 4, each of these points is 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and then 4 pi. Now here they only want you to graph from 0 to 2 pi, so we're really only looking at this area over here, which is half the graph, and then they want you to graph y equal 1, y equal -1, I'm sorry. So there's my y equal -1, and how many values satisfy that? It looks like 1, 2. Okay, next question over here. I'm gonna do only like 1 or 2 more. Here, that's the midline, and then, so at 8, you're going to go up 2 and down 2. So if you want to do it algebraically, it's -2 plus 8 and 2 plus 8. And it's a cosine graph, but it's upside down. So I'm going to start, it's going to look like this, the graph. Now the period is 2 pi divided by pi over 6, because it's the number in front of x, or t is the b value. So at 12 you have one full graph. So okay, now the period divided by 4 gives me each point. So 12 divided by 4 gives me the first point's at 3, then it's at 6, then it's at 9, and then it's at 12. That's where you have one full graph, and it looks like it's upside down because there's a negative in front here. So I'm going to start there, go to the midline, go to the max, go to the midline, and go to the min, and here is my graph. And they want to know, when is the tide at least 7 feet? So let's see, this is 7 right here, y equals 7. So it's anything right here. And it looks like that's, what time is that between? It looks like 2, and then 9, 10. It's hard for me to read from here. It looks like it's from 2 to 10. So it's from, the interval is from time 2 to 10 hours, because it looks like it says hours. Now here, -13 tells you it's upside down again, and then -13 plus 13 tells me that the minimum is at 0. Where is my 0? Here. And then my maximum is at 26. And it looks like the 0, oh, I didn't even, it looks like here I didn't even put enough points to graph this. I'm not going to graph this one. I'm just going to tell you that, and you could go online on JMap and get the answers, but the minimum's at 0, the max is at 26, there's one full cycle at 2.5. That's, I guess, what is this talking about? Riding a bike. and the height, a constant speed, the nail. A nail gets caught in one of the tires. So I guess it's one full cycle that the nail will travel. That's what the period means. And then it wants you to draw one full cycle. Well, I'm going to draw this quickly. I'm just going to go like this because I know it's upside down. Put the 13 here. Put 26 on top. Put 0 on the bottom. And then put 2.5 for the period. And that's good enough for now. I'm not going to use I don't like the graph. It looks like there's not enough boxes to draw it neatly. Let's see. I guess I'll do one more. Wait. Here, there's the midline at 20. And then you're going to go up 10 to 30 and down 10 to 10. And there it is algebraically. There's the max and min. And the period is 2 pi divided by pi over 5. So the period is 10. So at 10, you have one full graph. So every 10 years. So it's not upside down. Okay. So I guess we have to do, we're going to start at the 30, then go to the 0, which is the midline, then go to the 10, then back to the midline, and go back here. Now I have to do it again. I have to go to the 10, go to the midline, go back up, because we have to go from the max to the midline, to the min, to the midline, and back up again every 10 years. And I guess that's 1980, 90, and then this is 2000. I don't know. I must be off here, one of my dots, but that's okay. I'm doing it fast. You get the gist of it. Just doing it quickly so you could hopefully pass your test. Now, what years did the minimum amount fall? So it's that year, and that year. Now, if we have to figure it out, it looks like that's 10 years, so that has to be 5 years. So 1975, 1985, and 1995. And then yeah, this one's a good one. We have, again, the amplitude and the midline. You add and then you subtract negative amplitude plus the midline. And I'm going to get the period. And then it's the max over the min. It gives you the blood pressure value if you read this later. I'm not even going to graph it. And that's all I'm going to do for now. I could do a better version before the regions. Take care.